Alrighty guys, so we are going to be working on perspective. And this is a practice. This is not your final work of art. So don't worry if you have eraser marks or you need to start over, you flip it over, work on the back, whatever it is, that is okay. I just want us to get used to what this means. And hopefully the video that we just watched kind of helps you understand that a little bit, but I think this will push it the rest of the way home if it doesn't. So what you need paper. You need something to draw with. I recommend a pencil and eraser you have out for today because that is going to be very helpful. And then something to help you create a straight line. If you have a ruler, that is definitely the best tool you can use for this. But if you don't, and you guys will see, I'm going to show you how I do it with that. If you can grab something that helps you create a straight line, it can be the edge of a folder, a notebook, like what I'm going to use, anything that's really going to help you create a straight line. So the first thing we have to do when creating perspective, specifically 1-point perspective, is we need to create our horizon line. So that line, always horizontal, goes across our paper and separates the ground from the sky. So that lets us know where everything is, if it's up close, if it's far away. Because without a horizon line, everything's just going to kind of look like it's floating around. There's no way to show, is it in the ground, is it on the air, is it close to us, is it far away from us? So we're going to add our horizon line on here. And to do that, I am going to draw a horizontal line that goes all the way across my paper. And for this, I do want my paper to be going horizontally. So you can do it tall and skinny, but it's going to be a little more cramped and hard to fit. So I would flip your paper, make sure it's going side to side. And then we want to draw a horizon line, or that horizontal line, that goes all the way across our paper. So you'll see my notebook, it's not quite as long as the paper. I want to line it up the best I can there, right in the middle. Ooh, my camera's a little twisted. Line it up right in the middle. I don't want it way at the top or way at the bottom, but I want it about the middle of my paper. Keeping it as straight as possible. I'm going to draw line across. When it starts to get towards the edge of what I'm using, I'm going to kind of pick it up, slide it over, line it back up, make sure it's going straight, and then continue my line the rest of the way across. So when I am done, I have a nice straight horizontal line that goes across my paper. Once I have done that, remember, this I now know, this is all ground, this is all sky. And that's how it's going to help me show what is, closer, farther away, all of that. So when something is said to kind of go to the horizon line, or things are often said to disappear on the horizon line, that just means they've gotten so far away from you, you can't see them anymore. Because when something's really close to us, it's going to look big. But when something gets really, really far away, it's going to look like it's smaller and smaller and smaller. Just like if you're looking at a mountain, but you're really far away, it can look really small off in the distance. But maybe the closer you hike or drive to that mountain, it's going to start to look much bigger and bigger and bigger, like you have to look up at it. So the same thing, that's what we're going to draw here. And where those things are, where they look small in the distance, that is called our vanishing point. So to represent that, I'm going to draw a dot on my horizon line. Right in the middle, we don't want it way too far off in the end. And I just need to do like a big circle. Just a little dot will work so you know where the vanishing point is. And the word vanishing point, or the name vanishing point, comes to when something gets so far away from you and gets so tiny that it appears or looks like it is vanishing or disappearing into the distance. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a road. And as this road gets further away from me, it's going to start to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it vanishes. So to draw my road, I'm going to use my straight edge or my ruler, and I'm going to draw a line that goes from the edge of my paper to that vanishing point. And I'm going to have it kind of go at an angle here till it touches the vanishing point, and then it's going to stop. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. The further apart you make this line, the bigger your road is. The closer together you make this line, the smaller your road is going to be. So I'm going to kind of draw just a pretty even shaped triangle right here. Goes from the front of my paper to the back. Now right now it just looks like a triangle. I'm not seeing a whole bunch of those other details. And this is where it's going to come into play, that you add lots of other details to make this look more three-dimensional. Remember, this is our practice today, guys. So I just want us to start to understand how this works. So to make this from looking just like a triangle and make it look a little more realistic, a little more three-dimensional, like you did on that very first picture we looked at the Nearpod, and you can always pause this and go back and look at it if you need to, we're going to add some other details. So you could draw types of plants like trees or cactuses all along the edge of the road, buildings along the edge of your road if you want to, bushes, vegetation, cars parked along the edge of the road. It's up to you. But I want you today to draw something on each side of your road that's going to help give us this three-dimensional perspective. And the way that's going to happen is when they're up close to the front of the road, they're going to be much bigger. And when they get closer to where that road touches the vanishing point, they're going to get smaller and smaller. So to go with that, I'm going to do mine like a desert, and I'm going to draw some cactus. So this first cactus is going to be almost like it's off the edge of the paper, and I'm standing like right next to it, so I can't even quite see the bottom of it. And I'm going to draw that, and I'm going to draw a saguaro cactus like I'm out in the desert. And then as my road travels towards my horizon line, my cacti are going to start to become smaller. So as it's down the road a little further, it's going to get a little smaller, and now I can kind of see the bottom of it. And that's going to continue happening. Now this one I'm not going to have right against the edge of the road. You might. But it's going to start to get smaller. And way back here in the distance, I'm really just going to have it all filled in because it's gotten so small. So you see how that is starting to help our road look as though it's really traveling and getting further away from us. Another thing that can help this is how roads normally have a line down the middle of them. Well, if your road has a line down the middle of it, the stripe is probably going to start pretty big, but as it travels down that road, it's going to get smaller and smaller until it appears like it's turning just into a dot. And that's another thing that's going to help this look like it's getting farther and further away. So I want you guys to really play around with this perspective of something up close being really, really big and something back there being really, really small. You can try drawing buildings if you want to, people walking along the road, but I want you to really kind of fill this up, and I want you to really fill up your space. You can add sky details, things that are far, far away. I might even at the edge of my horizon line, maybe at the end here, there's even some mountains really far off in the distance to one side. That's kind of where you guys, like I said, can kind of go through and do. And even on the horizon line there, I might have just the itty bittiest cactus way, way, way back there in the distance. Like I said, to the point where then it's going to disappear. So you guys, that is what you're creating today. Remember, this is a sketch one, so it doesn't have to be perfect and have every little detail all sorted out. But I want to see that you understand how as something gets further away from us, it's going to get smaller. And when something is closer to us, like it's standing right in front of us, it's going to be much larger. So you guys go through working on this. Send me a message if you guys have questions. Have fun.